Welcome everyone to the second episode of the Clinch Valley CrossFit podcast and YouTube videos. Excited to bring another one, Tristan. So today we've got a couple different things we're going to talk about. First of all, just had a really cool experience at the L2 trainer course in Cookeville, Tennessee. So we're going to dive into that. And then lastly, we're going to get into like what it feels like, what to expect specifically inside of a CrossFit class. So I'm going to get started up, man. I know your experience, but I'm excited for you to tell everybody else too. Like, what did you think about Cookeville and the L2 experience?
I was awesome. We had been to Cookeville before. We both did our L1 at the old CrossFit Mayhem. If you don't know CrossFit Mayhem, yep. Rich Froning's home gym that he built. We did it at Mayhem 1.0 back in 2014 and had not been back to Cookeville to see the, I guess new, it's probably not new anymore, I guess it's a couple years old now, but the 2.0, the bigger facility, super nice facility, but just an amazing experience. Getting to learn more about coaching and more about, coaching correctly and cueing and fixing faults, not only just the big dramatic faults, but like the super micro technical stuff. Great experience with the staff there. Pat Barber was our flow master, super fun guy, awesome. Just made the course excellent. We had a smaller group. It was really close to Christmas. They said our group was really small for what they're normally, what do we have, 10?
Yeah, 10.
Like 10 people. So they normally said probably like 40 to 50 in a course like that. So that was really awesome for us. We got a lot more hands-on with that. But kind of our purpose for it was, just to better ourselves, better education, and up our level of knowledge. But both of our L1s were also coming to expire, so your option is to re-up your L1 or advance to the next level. So we both chose that. But awesome experience. Learned a ton. Kind of revitalized some of the coaching aspects, and kind of learned a ton from the lesson planning side. Making sure that the workout is one thing. We can throw a workout up every day, but how are we maximizing that hour to get the most out of it in that CrossFit class? And it was it's just an amazing experience. Can't say it enough. What'd you think?
It was cool. I want to give a shout out to Donovan. Was awesome as well. And Donovan was actually part of, almost 5 years ago, part of our L1. So let me set the stage here. When we talk L1, L2, at level 1, level 2 trainers, it's just different levels of experience and training and things like that come into it. But Donovan was awesome too, man. It was so neat to see him. Former regional athlete, I believe. He obviously has a good relationship with those folks in Cookeville, living in Nashville, but he's just, both Pat and Donovan, just all around athletes. But I'll say this, like CrossFit, and I've been a part of different trainings with, corporate companies and seeing some of, friends, family with other business, and like training is typically something, if you are a trainer, right? Training is typically something that, to create that experience and engagement with your audience is sometimes really, really tough to do in a classroom setting when you're doing that. Like CrossFit has it figured out. Pat and Donovan were awesome at like giving us the info and like the class itself, but like CrossFit's got it together with how they prepare their staff to go out and like spread the word and train these folks into how to be better coaches. Like I was impressed with those two guys for sure, but even as much so with the type of content, how challenging it was for everybody there. Like it literally walked away, and it was the feedback that we gave CrossFit HQ was everybody walked away as a better coach from that. I don't care where you were in your journey, if you'd only been coaching for 6 months or 2 or 3 years or 5 years, like everyone got better there. So that was what was cool. I thought it just took everybody to that next level, next step, and definitely worth the money spent to go and do that.
I honestly think too that's intentional with CrossFit. Most Glassman's super intentional, I think, with everything he does. But I think the way that course is run is very intentional, because not only is the content important and your time that you're investing in that important, but it's also showing you the right way to run your own classes and to run your own courses and to run your own nutritional seminars, and the right way to engage with your crowd or your members or whoever may be coming in for whatever you're running that day. Could it be, just your regular group class? They ran us through a group class. We're a bunch of CrossFit trainers. We know we're a bunch of L1s looking to be L2s. We've been through a lot of CrossFit classes. They ran us through a very intentional class. It was fun. It was exciting. We laughed. We played a game. We joked around. We had a big time. But we also all experienced what the perfect, quote unquote, perfect class should look like and be run like. And we sat down after that and timelined it out. We really didn't know what we were doing. They literally said, "Hey guys, we're going to go work out." So we just, goofing off, go work out, but then we come back and we timeline out what we just did, and they just showed us, how that class should go. But I think the way they run their course as a whole has a lot to do with that too, of showing you the right way to engage and the right way to run that course, because it inspired me to do a better job of those things, of interacting and being a better coach and being a better speaker and a lot of those things. I think they do it very intentionally. It's a great course.
It was cool, man. It's got me thinking about what I want my next class to be, like to go back or course to take, through CrossFit, because, this was really, the level 2 is really based just around like people that are actually coaching is kind of what I pulled from that. Like people actually coaching and really trying to become better coaches. But they branch out into several different things. Obviously on the fitness side for sure, you've got weightlifting. There's programs called CrossFit Kids and things like that you can specialize in or learn more about. But the next course I'm going back for, man, I think is the culinary one.
It just looks
awesome. Yeah, like I really want to do that because I love food so much. First of all,
it's really neat. Yeah,
I think it'll be. They've got it locked in, and I would even encourage someone. We know a lot of people that have their L1 too, level 1, which is great about learning about, I think more so learning about
which is the
CrossFit.
reason we did it, right?
For sure.
That was our original intention
about it.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot about the non-functional movements, like a lot about the nutritional strategy of CrossFit, how that works and the different things inside of it. Like there's a good learning about CrossFit L1.
With that fire hose of knowledge, like I said, like it's just, they're trying to get you with all the knowledge in that course.
How does scheduling, it gives you the methodologies behind it all and kind of makes sense of CrossFit. So I would encourage people to go do it if you're, have the ability to go do that. There's gyms close as Cookeville that do them, but there's several around surrounding states too. But awesome.
CrossFit.com courses, you can find one that fits your schedule. If you are an L1 and plan to continue to coach and you meet the prerequisites, I strongly recommend the level 2. Also, by definition, we get this all the time. Like people tell me all the time, congratulations on your certification. So we learned this definition and why they call it what they call it. I'd like to dive into that in just a second and kind of tell people what we actually are. So we're actually classified as CrossFit level 2 trainers. The reason that is not called a certification is because by definition, if you take a course and a test all in the same deal, that is not a certification. A certification is defined that you only take a test and there's not a course attached to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
That's how they explained it to us. So we're not technically allowed to say that we're certified CrossFit. That's actually the next level where you go to the L3 and you just take that very, very difficult test and you have the prerequisite number of coaching hours and all that. So we are CrossFit level 2 trainer, CFL2 abbreviated is technically what we are defined as.
Yeah, very cool. And I still like that they're very on purpose about the movements. If you're not doing it well in this level 2, like they're going to let you know, and they need to see you do it well or coach it well. To be able to get, this is a pass-fail thing. You don't just get, shoot in and like this. You got to get through and show the knowledge and experience needed to be able to complete it in the way that CrossFit deems acceptable.
And how micro, man, that was the thing that was exciting to me is like, with us all being, experienced CrossFit athletes, we all move pretty well for the most part, right? I mean, there's just a few anomalies, but we all move pretty well. We had a master's athlete in our course with an injury, couldn't reach extension overhead because of there's things like that are out there, but we move pretty well. But just to find out little small flaws little tiny things like your shoulders dipping just slightly forward on your push jerk, or little things like that we discovered because we don't get coached daily by the coaches, and like how their eye is, and they're wanting your eye to be as good as theirs and you to be able to correct on that micro level. And I think that's something that happens really, really often in CrossFit gyms or any gym, is once you get that year to 2 years experience, you feel like you get kind of pushed off to the corner because the coaches are more focused on the new or the entry level or the more egregious faults over here that they're fixing with new people, and you really don't get as much correction or cue anymore. And it really, really inspired me that obviously you've got both sides of the gym that you've got going on, but I don't ever want our gym to be something you throw those high level athletes to the corner and you can find a cue, a correction, something that they can do a little bit better and keep improving them as well. Even after the point, that they've figured out the bulk of CrossFit movements, there's still things they can do better. And staying accountable as a coach to keep cueing and correcting that kind of stuff was really neat to see that they put a lot of emphasis on that.
Yeah. So I'll say the coaching definitely worth it for me. And then the space and being in Cookeville, you mentioned it too. I'll just agree with you. Like being in Cookeville School, right. I'll tell you something, man, just as like new owners to a new affiliate, I thought was really cool. Rich is obviously well known in the space, but something I really respected from that gym specifically and going to Cookeville, and again, don't expect this to go every time, right? But he made the time both in our level 1 5 years ago and level 2 to come by, spend time with the coaches or the trainers that were there, and spend some time with the folks that come to his gym to go do it. And again, whether if that was by chance or not, it was just means a lot to have somebody that cares enough, whether it was Rich or it was somebody else, owner or manager of a gym, like that means a ton with going to that kind of community, and him coming in doing a workout was just really, really neat. And it's happened both times.
Yeah, and open up the facilities, and it wasn't like a, look at all my nice equipment, don't touch it. Like everything was free. Like we could use the assault runners, and during our breaks, or play basketball on the basketball goal during our breaks. And I mean, he's just really welcoming, really open. The great facility, great people, and they do a great job with that seminar. And also, props to Mayhem and to Rich for just opening up and just kind of being welcoming. It really makes it nice. It makes it a fun experience.
It's a big deal having them close by too, because we look at them as an example, not just in the just for the sheer aspect of kind of who obviously Rich is, but like what that gym does. We think they do a lot of things smart. From the what they offer their members, whether that be from the types of workouts, how they drive memberships, or how they market their self and what value they add to their members through some of that media.
Yeah, so they're doing a lot of awesome things over there.
I love it. I know we're getting through, man. A huge experience. I guess we wanted to share that more so just because of like what it means to be a CrossFit trainer, and something that you can't just really hop right into and go do your own thing. But we really want to start with striving to sharpen the knife as much as possible on our end. So furthering our education, always be studying the craft and getting better, and to be able to do that right off the beginning with a brand new L2 trainers course was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it was great experience, and I'm glad we got to share it. And if you've never looked into it, also just want to shout out, there is a ton of resources on CrossFit Journal. Go on a CrossFit Journal and type in CrossFit Level 2. They have a ton of videos on there and kind of give you some more insight on what to expect from that course, or kind of what that entails. If you are thinking about it and want to pursue coaching and continue to coach, continue your education as well, you're going to do a lot of good for yourself and for the people that you're coaching. It's an investment in that, and I think it's worthwhile for sure.
Cool. If anybody has questions about it, let us know in the comments, please.
Yeah,
we're happy to answer any and all those. If you're interested in taking a course or thinking about it, we'll share our experience with you to every detail. So the second subject that we're going to get into today is like inside of a class, and we wanted to really try to paint the picture for potential members in the future, or folks that have already reached out are interested about taking classes. So we're going to try to do that as best as possible today, and kind of get into some of the specifics around what can you expect inside the gym, what happens during that 1 hour class when you kind of step into the gym. So I'll flip it to you first, man, and we'll just have some talk back and forth. What is the typical class going to look like?
Awesome. Yeah. So every class, regardless of movements of the day or technicality or duration of the workout, every class we run will start with some kind of warm up. And we'll get into a little bit why they'll be different, but some kind of warm up, some kind of general get your blood flowing, get you moving. We may go for a light jog. We may hit the rowers for a couple minutes. We may do some jump rope, some kind of monostructural. Basically, our overreaching goal is just to get your blood flowing, right? Just to get you moving, get you woke up a little bit. You just got out of the car leaving work, or you just woke up, you're coming into a morning class. We just want to get your blood flowing, right? From there, depending on skills and what we're doing that day, be it a strength heavy day, be it a highly technical gymnastics days, we'll get into more of what we call a technical warm up. So we'll start talking about and diving into the technical movements that we're going to do that day, be it a Murph where we're doing a lot of pull-ups and push-ups and air squats, simpler movements, but we need to be able to adapt and scale and get everybody moving. Or if we're doing a 1 rep max snatch that day for a really highly technical Olympic lift, that will kind of decide how long we spend on those technical bits. And we'll get a technical warm-up going where we get you progressing and moving through those movements no matter where you are. Take you through some progressions, make sure you're moving well, hitting the points of performance on each one of those movements. And then again, depending on duration of the Metcon, we'll get you, or weightlifting portion of the day, we will get you into that portion, hopefully leaving enough of a gap for a cool down session at the end. If classes run tight or large and we have to run right on the hour to get you that full workout in, there will always be a cool down session that you can work through to the side on your own or with a group, on the whiteboard or something like that. Example of that, let's call it Murph. Murph is just something that's a really long workout. If you're not familiar with Murph, it's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and a mile run. You're talking about a 45-minute workout or longer, upwards of an hour for a lot of athletes, depending on how we scale it. If you've got an hour class to fit that in, you're going to have a very short general warm-up, short technical warm-up, and then you're still going to be tight to get that workout in and get everybody done in an hour. So the cool down that day would probably be something written on the whiteboard that athletes could do to the side after class. On a shorter day where we have a very technical skill and a short Metcon, we might have a 5 to 10 minute cool down session at the end of the day. Our goal every day is to get you a warm-up workout and a cool down within that hour. Won't always work out that way, but you will always 100% of the time get a warm-up led by your coach, a workout led by your coach, and on most days a cool down, again, led by your coach.
Yeah. So safe to say, the more technical the movement, typically you're going to have a little bit longer warm up top, and it kind of depends, right? So Tristan said Metcon, metabolic conditioning is what we're talking about there. Typically 2 to 3 movements combined together to get some kind of metabolic stimulus, right? Is what you're going to be doing inside it. You might have that workout, which could be heavy in the gymnastics part, which could be pull-ups or ring rows, right? Air squats or front squat, whatever that might be. Like it might be several movements together, but then also you may have a heavy day, right? So if a heavy day, we're working on squats in particular for front squats or back squats or something like that, we're really going to work mobility, warm those things up. I heard a fighter once say, you go into a fight cold, you're going to get knocked out cold. That's kind of how the approach we take. So you got to be warmed up effectively enough, right, to get through the workouts safely, obviously, is number one. So I think that's pretty good. So the more technical the movement, typically a little bit more on the front end, teaching those movements during the warm-up or correcting some of those movements in the warm-up.
Absolutely. And from a programming standpoint as well, that class structure is really, for our system, is really going to fit into CrossFit's original methodology, which you may see some program structures that incorporate a strength and a conditioning every day. We'll do that very little, if at all. Most of the days we will focus on whatever our conditioning piece for that day is or our strength element is for that day, incorporating enough variation. That is our original prescription, constantly varied, functional movements performed at a relatively high intensity. Now that includes your strength days. So we don't want to take away that strength element, that back squat or that snatch or that front squat or that Olympic lift. We don't want to shorten up the amount of attention we pay to that so that we can jam in a 15-minute Metcon or metabolic conditioning piece at the end of the day so that you can feel like you sweat and you've got something done and you can leave. There will be days where we might add in a little finisher or a little fun little thing to do at the end to kind of get you out of breath, get you moving. But if we hit the stimulus right on those strength days, you're going to feel like you got a really, really good workout, even though maybe we didn't, run all over downtown Clinton and throw 70 barbells around.
Yeah.
Did more of a, conditioning or strength piece that day.
For sure. I'm going to tell myself. So obviously before CrossFit for me, I can remember, going into the gym myself and just trying to get work done, going in, doing back squats on the Smith machine or something like that, and like literally not warming myself up correctly. And what it really makes me think about is how the teaching part comes into play, the progressions that go through during that warm up. When people think, back squats is the work today or is the workout today, call it five rounds, 5 repetitions of back squats, like, that's going to take 10 minutes to do. Like that should be a short day. Not really, because when you work through the progressions, and something that you're really good at is breaking those movements down to help you get better, whether that's squat depth or which goes along with mobility and some of the other things. If you're trying to lift heavier or just trying to move better, that progression in that warm up or those progressions in the warm up really fill that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And for a 5x5 working set, what is it, 25 reps, you're probably going to do 50 or more reps in a technical warm-up or a progression to get you ready to get under that heavy barbell. And if we've done that correctly, that first set of 5 is going to be really, really difficult. And depending on what the rep scheme is that day, if we're building or keeping the same weight, one of the best quotes I ever heard was Adrian Bosman said, you know what the best set of 5 is? A set of 4.
Oh, yeah.
When you were so close on your weight selection that you couldn't get that 5th rep on that 5th set, that you absolutely did as many reps, 5 or many sets of 5 that you could possibly do under that loading that day, that's the stimulus we're looking for on a heavy day, that you got under some heavy weight and you're going to walk out of that gym that day feeling like, man, I moved weight today. Now, relatively speaking, depending on technique and range of motion, if we don't have that technique where it's safe to get under a heavy load that day, you're going to do enough reps that you get a similar stimulus with a moderate to light loading. Trying our overreaching goal is trying to move you as close to full range of motion as possible. So on a day that we're back squatting, if you can't back squat heavy, that doesn't mean you're going to be thrown in a corner doing ab mat sit-ups, right? Doing something completely different unless you have an injury or an issue, circumstance of that. Right. But as long as you're able, we are going to move you as close to heavy back squats as we possibly can safely, right? That is our overreaching goal, is to get you squatting today.
Yeah.
And make you better at squats today.
Yeah. I think it's good, man. And just thinking about those things, in my mind, I've still got someone that's brand new to CrossFit coming in, and we wanted to paint that picture of the classes, that it's not come in, all right, everybody line up and let's start. You're going to have somebody there with you, ensuring that you're set up to succeed for any scaled version of whatever workout that might be. And I think just talking about that, coming in, preparing, having the workout and the cool down are very on purpose. The hour is very on purpose that Absolutely. You're there. Very little dead
One
time.
other thing that we kind of glazed over that we didn't talk about, we got a couple of minutes here that I want to dive into this. We have decided as a gym that we feel it is important and useful to do an on-ramp or an introductory class. So we've set a timeline that if you come in and you do not have CrossFit experience, we're going to put you through an introductory class. Now that's going to be a condensed down class that's just you and other people that's never done it before, so you guys kind of are all on equal plane. Those are going to be class sizes of about 10 people, and we are going to put you through that 3 to 4 class session where we teach you the foundational movements and also kind of what to expect in the gym and the flow of the gym, where the equipment is, where the bathroom is. You don't have to come in and it's a class of 20 or 30 people and you have no clue what to do. You don't remember the coach's name. You don't know anybody. Obviously, it's going to be a welcoming community, but we're going to put everybody into that on-ramp class. It's going to be 3 to 4 classes, still nailing out all that down, and that final class is going to end with a nutritional session. We're going to do this nutritional session every week and bring in on-ramp members, even non-on-ramp members, and do a nutritional class because we want to teach you how we want you to move, but we also want to teach you how we want you to eat outside of the gym and what the best prescription for meeting your health goals is. Did I miss anything on that? Want to add anything to that about the on-ramp course? I'm sure we'll talk a ton more about that as we get closer to dates on this, but something I did want to reach out. If you've held on this long, it's we are definitely going to be a gym that on-ramps our members and brings everybody in kind of through the same door so that everybody kind of has equal, we all know what's going on. We all have the same
absolutely
gym experience.
Very well said, and I don't want to repeat any of that because it was very well said. I think just so you know what we're trying to do is just remove the barriers of maybe what somebody's idea or someone's idea of CrossFit is that maybe not 100%, on board with what actually goes on inside the gym. So I'll say that the goal of that is to get everybody comfortable with coming in that's interested. And so and comfortable comes with confidence, I think. And what you're going to do inside of that onboarding is build confidence that even if you're, moderately scaled to really scaled, or you've got some good movement patterns, like you're going to be able to come in and start moving the needle. You've also got some other people around you that in the same stage or at least same experience level with CrossFit.
You don't feel like you're not going to have to feel like you're holding the class back because you're not ready to move to that barbell yet. You're going to have a whole class of athletes just moving with PVC pipes and moving with light weights, and everybody's going to kind of be on that introductory level. A lot more comfortability. Again, we'll talk more about it in the days and weeks leading up, but something we're definitely going to do.
Absolutely. So excited about those pieces. The only thing you sparked in my mind is that those classes are made to be, pretty low impact and very lightweight, if no weight, just body weight movement. So they're coming in. It really kind of eases you into the whole process. And again, nothing about that. Just that level of the transitions where you get started.
But again, an investment in the long term, right?
Sure.
We're not trying to get you to a superhero level within those first 3 to 4 classes, but we're going to bring you in the right way so that long term, that longevity of correct movement patterns, we can start building that the correct way.
It's awesome, man. Just thank you so much again for the words of wisdom. We'll say this: please give us comments if there's something that you'd like us to talk about or bring to the table. If you've got questions, leave those in the comments, and we'll pick through as many of those as possible to see like future episodes and what that's going to look like to bring you guys the most value. It's for you for sure. So I guess we'll just sign off, man. Anything else to add?
That's it, man.
Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.